Hi, travelers. Tara here. I'm going to do a quick open reading. Website members, by the time you see this reading, you finish watching it, all of the individual monthlies for September will have been posted. I have not started on the romance gallery yet, but I'm going to try to get a few of those done in the next few days. We are painting. So this past weekend, it was my daughter's room. It came out gorgeous. So this weekend, the plan, and it's also my birthday. So this weekend is the plan to tape off my office and go ahead and get it painted and get some of the furniture done so that I can start moving my stuff in and arranging everything. Also, additionally, I've had there's still some things from, and I don't want to say my past because it's not really my past. It was just only a few weeks ago that I moved into this house. But there's a few extra things that I'm dealing with from the old place where I was before. And so I've got a lot of things going on. There's lots of emails coming in. There's lots of trips. There's banks. There's this, there's that. So there's a lot of things that are kind of going on. And so I feel as though I'm kind of scattering my energy, but I'm just trying to, take things one thing at a time. So I will tell you that the readings have all been quite interesting. It's a general theme that's kind of going through. This is about major life changes. Every reading was like that. It's a major life change, a major change in the energy, a major change of cycles, a major change in directionality. And I honestly feel that this is due to the impending move of Jupiter into Capricorn, because in October when that occurs, because once that happens, we are coming up on the year 2020. And those of you who've been following me and on the website, you've been reading the articles that I posted up. I keep explaining to you that 2020, nothing is going to be the same. Some of you have already contacted me. Things that are happening in your industry and where you work are already beginning to change. There are new rules and regulations that are going to be going into effect into 2020. And so by the time, by the end of the year, by December 31st, 2019, we will have Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node all in the sign of Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn rules governments, big banks, big business, institutions, corporations. It is your house of career. And if you've been watching the news, you see that there are changes happening uh, all across the board. I was talking to you all last year about the stuff that was happening with Facebook. There are 5Gs coming. There are major changes that are going to be coming about in 2020. And so if you need a refresher on the website, get back in there and type in those articles dealing with 2020, Pluto and Capricorn, Saturn and Capricorn, Jupiter, and all of those things. And grab your charts, drag your charts out, because and find out where these degrees are. We have a full moon in Pisces coming up, but it's going to be a really interesting full moon because there are several other conjunctions that are happening with the moon, as well as some sextiles and some squares. I think the last is a Pluto-Jupiter square coming up, and that's been happening since I don't know when, but this is the third and the last one. And I think I have an article there on the website about the squares that have been happening. So I have all of this stuff playing out on my ascendant. I'm a Capricorn rising, okay? And kind of like Capricorn rising, kind of Aquarius rising. I have a 29-degree angle on my axis. All of my axis, my AS, my DS, my MC, my IC, all sit at 29 degrees. Okay, so that's a critical degree. And so there are major things happening. So I'm really going to try to start bringing you those astrology articles again. Even though if you may not use astrology, if you may not utilize astrology, I think it will be imperative for you to at least read the articles and take what you can from the information, and then start paying attention to what's happening. All right. So with that said, For those of you who watch me on LinkedIn, go over and hit the subscribe button on my channel, because sometimes I don't always get an opportunity to load up my videos to LinkedIn. If I'm pressed for time, I just hit YouTube and that's it. Same thing on Tumblr. If you're just watching me on Tumblr, or you're just watching me on Twitter, you know, also subscribe to the channel, because I don't always get a chance to upload to those places. All right. So with that being said, we're going to do a quick open reading. I hope everyone is okay. Today is September 11th. It is the 19-year anniversary. I cannot believe that. 20 years later, here we are. And again, nothing is the same. So, let's say the cards. The Tower, how uncanny is that? Just speaking about September 11th. Wow. The Five of Swords. The Six of Wands. The Magician. The Empress. Now remember, I was talking about those conjunctions that we had going on now. And also remember too that we have Uranus, who has gone back. He came into Taurus, he went out of Taurus now, okay? He was retrograde, then he went direct, he finally moved into Taurus, and he turned right around and went retrograde again. So, the Moon. Now, we have some conjunctions of Mercury and Venus, Mars and Venus, Mercury and somebody else, playing out aside the Sun and the Moon over this coming moon period, full moon period. So that's literally anywhere from 3 days out to 2 weeks, okay? There's all major arcanas across this central row. And another depiction of Uranus, the Fool card. Wow. Two of Wands. And the Justice card. Again, so Venus is going to be playing a major role. Venus is, yes, she is the goddess of beauty and love, but she's also, she wants things to be harmonious. So she's known to be diplomatic, and she's known to be tactful. All of the things that sometimes you go to court, you wear a certain suit, you have a certain demeanor. In order to get any kind of cooperation out of people, you have to make it attractive. That's what Venus does. Make the thing attractive so you can convince people what they're going to get out of it and have them come along and cooperate with you. And then you try to be fair and balanced in the way that you deal with people, or in the way you're explaining things to people, or what you're hoping to get out of this. So it looks like, look. So I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcana cards. So whatever this thing is, it's huge. Just huge. To me, this looks like it's some kind of sudden outbreak of a fight, or maybe this sudden idea, where you end up telling people exactly what you think or how you feel about them. Sometimes I've seen this like an expression of anger, a volatile emotion, an excited utterance. Right? Sometimes it's just can come out as an explosion of emotion. But I'm looking at these 3 cards here, and they are also quite similar to each other. It almost reads as though there's some kind of epiphany, some kind of earth-shattering, earth-shaking event, news, or message that comes in. But what does it do? It stirs up your creativity. Suddenly, you know exactly who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, and you understand, really, this is a whole new beginning. The world is your oyster. You can step off into the unknown. I have seen these two cards sometimes show up when it's some kind of invention thing, some kind of medical discovery, or some kind of scientific discovery, or some kind of news from outer space. Like some new pictures coming back that show us something that we've never seen before. There's a lot of Aquarian and mental energy happening here. The Tower is not always something bad, people. There's two depictions of Mars and Uranus. Here, the full moon. Some of me, I feel that for some of you, whatever this explosion, this epiphany, this tearing down of, this falling down of this structure, whatever that structure means for you. But I've been trying to explain to you guys for the longest time what the Tower card, what Uranus is all about. Yes, he's the god of lightning. He's the god of surprises, of unpredictability, of ups and downs, of taking you to the highest and then ripping the carpet right out from the floor, right out from under you. But it is designed to provide you liberation and freedom. Old structures that have been standing for so long, they are no longer useful for us. And so what happens if we don't recognize that the cracks are starting to crumble and we're not making plans to do whatever? Instead, we try to uphold, patch up, seal up, shore up things that no longer really should be standing. So it comes, it falls to the ground. But once the dust settles and it clears, what are you left with? You're left with a clear playing field, a clear place to build again, a clear place to start anew, put a different structure, sell that part off and go get something else. So the Tower card can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I think besides the Death card, it is one of the most feared cards in the tarot deck. But you have to remember that it really only speaks about the unexpected. Something beyond your control, something that happens in a flash. It comes out of the blue. It's so powerful, it can knock you down, or it can make you go like, wow, okay? So that, what I'm going to do, this is our timing around the full moon. I don't know if this is a legal issue for some of you. I'm not exactly sure. So the only cards I'm going to be able to look at are these three. It comes from some kind of offer or some kind of news or message that comes. Again, I'm getting the idea that it's something out of the blue. That fish popping out of the cup. It doesn't, whoever expects to have a fish pop out of a cup. So there's always this kind of element of surprise. Being that it's a page of cups, it just tells me that there's, whatever this thing is, it comes with some kind of emotionality. The eruption of it. Whether it's anger, joy, awe, I don't know. Okay, so I want to, let me read to you what the Tower card means. Okay, particularly for those of you who are new to tarot cards. And interestingly, out of all the cards in the deck, this is the only man-made structure that is depicted in the tarot. Okay, it's the only thing. It's the only man-made structure. Okay, let me give you the meaning. It tells you to be prepared for rapid changes as situations in your life are moving fast. Change is inevitable as karmic forces will cause breakdown in relationships of all kinds, business and financial situations, particularly those you consider to be of a permanent nature. Accept the changes and plan for the future, as clinging to the past will hinder your progress. That's like people who work for 30, 40 years in the same industry and they expected to get their pensions at the end, and they find out all of a sudden that the pension's been taken away from them. Somebody raided the company and took it all. They got nothing left. It may be indicating sudden and unexpected changes and or changes in one's behavior or misguided beliefs is needed, that the change in what you may believe. Because really, whatever that structure you built up in your mind, what you thought was solid, it's not. Nothing stays the same. Nothing is permanent, ever. It informs you of an unexpected positive change. It brings flashes of intuition and breaking free of restrictions, and tells of sudden events occurring that will bring a new direction. It tells of the need to take a long look at your life and accept that sweeping changes may need to be made. Not everybody's going to agree with that either. It's asking you to be willing to make the effort to break through pretense, sparing yourself a great deal of anguish. It can be an indication of the need to break down unhealthy structures within yourself. It can be seen as an indication that the time has come to make a new start. You should have inner peace and be aware of the whole picture rather than be held back by dwelling on the negative changes. It represents an unexpected blow to the ego or pride, which at first can seem humiliating and damaging. But with hindsight, it proves to be a useful experience from which lessons have been learned. It can indicate a physical injury, which is not as severe or damaging as it may first have appeared. And that's not what I'm getting. I'm getting that this is something that may have come out of the blue. Maybe it did jack you up. Maybe it was whack. Okay? But it is literally, if you get clear on it, if you haven't lost sight of your vision, your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, you can get control of your fears, what scares you the most. Okay? You can do this. Now, I want to look at this Two of Swords here. And I always like to read people the meaning of the Tower card because they are so fearful of it. I have learned over the years to simply just, when I see it pop up, if I'm doing a reading, let's say I never read for myself, but sometimes I get messages from the cards about myself when I'm reading. And so when it pops up, and if I feel that it's something, I just keep a watchful eye. Now, Five of Swords with the Magicians indicates that some reconsideration needs to be put into your recent plans, as there are some aspects that have been overlooked. That could be that moon energy. It asks you to reconsider some decisions you have made of late, as there is a need for adjustments here and there. It says, if you are hesitant to begin, it is advisable to wait until the timing is more auspicious. So this could be telling you, wait until the passing of the full moon. I always tell you, never try to make a decision over 3 days before or 3 days after, okay? Because typically we don't have all of the information that we need. It's like a blackout, and things seem a lot different under the moonlight than they do in the sun. But at the same time, it also says if you have faith, and you trust what your intuition is telling you, you don't let your fear get the best of you, you might have to make that decision between those 3 days before and 3 days after. You know, you can't let life stop moving because the planets are doing something weird, okay? You have to take all the facts and circumstances into consideration, you know, and go with what your gut tells you, all right? Six of Wands. With the Fool. It indicates that there are still some obstacles and challenges ahead, so remain aware and focused. So I'm saying, I just don't. Two of Wands. I just think this is a little hiccup here, and you're going to be in a position where you're going to have to make a determination or a decision. That's really all twos are. Listen, when the Two of Wands appears with the Empress, it is a message that opportunities are abound and opportunity is imminent. So establish yourself and set your ideas into motion. The time is fruitful, so make the most of it. There are powerful forces here at work. There are things happening or will be happening or could possibly happen that really you don't have any control over. But it also says that the Two of Wands can sometimes indicate a tremendous ability and excellent foresight. So you are asked to persevere and have faith, trust, and courage that you will succeed. It also says that it can indicate that a letter or a message will provide you with the answer to an important question to do with a contract or transition. It speaks of embarking on a new enterprise, so be bold and have courage. Let's take a look at what this Moon card is trying to tell us. Just because of where it fell, no other reason. And this could be some kind of Uranus, Moon. Oh, I think there's a Uranus-Neptune square as well. But this is Uranus and Mercury. Sudden insight, sudden messages, like magic. The answer comes. There's a victory. There's a lawyer. And it says there's a trap. So don't be foolish. It's warning that the messages, you haven't gotten the message yet, or the news. Something unseen here. Lawyer says there's a, maybe you get some news from the lawyer. You're waiting to get some, or the lawyer tells you, you know what? Don't sign that because it's a trap. I don't know. Let's see. Thought. Pleasant pastime. And waiting. Well, isn't that interesting? Let's pull conjure cards on this. The Justice card. On the Justice card. Seven of Wands, or clubs. Two of diamonds. Six of diamonds. There's some kind of legality here. Some kind of not necessarily legal issue. Yes, maybe, no, maybe. But something for certain to do with the law. It could be simply a contractual issue. The signing of documents. Let's take a look. It says, you may have to defend yourself against an attack, but you will be successful in removing all of the obstacles. It speaks about a time for strong defense and a strong wall of protection. It can indicate financial success, but there may be problems with the opposite sex. It can also indicate a change in business that may have been expected or earned, such as a promotion. But now, this Two of Diamonds, it says you are having trouble making a commitment, or you're being indecisive. It can indicate a change in a business partnership or relationship. And it might speak even to gossip. Basically, it just says you need to, and that's the fear. That's the Moon card coming out. You need to decide to commit to whatever this thing is, whether you're going to or whether you're not going to. The Six of Diamonds. Now, reconciliation, return of a lost love or rift is mended. Could also speak to a possible gift of money. but it says you have to open up in order to receive it. But if this is something negative, it can indicate relationship problems, arguments, and sometimes forewarn of a separation. I don't, that's a possibility. I don't necessarily see that. I'm going to give you one more interpretation of these cards. Bear with me. I can't find what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Oh, there's no damn spades came out on that, right? Okay, here we go. The clubs. We start with the 7. It says that this is an indication that you're better at starting things than at finishing them, and that you need to pay attention to the details. Don't be foolish. Don't be all in the clouds. It can sometimes indicate a dabbler or someone who flips from one thing to another, leaving behind a trail of half-finished projects. It says that you need to stop and spend time on your own to think, learn, and grow in knowledge and wisdom. That in fact you probably enjoy spending time on your own, solitary introspective pursuits. But it says if you're able to do that, that the future, and you are prepared to do it, your future will improve much more and you'll be more successful than in the past. In olden times, it was often this card, the 7 of Clubs, an indication of danger ahead. But it can be averted if you are prepared to do the things that need to be done to ensure the success. That's quite an extraordinary thing. The 2 of Diamonds relates to unexpected good news concerning financial matters. It tends to come from someone perhaps close to you. It says that the sum of money involved will not be large, but will be welcome all the same. It says that you are reaping your rewards because of your ability to deal with people in a harmonious way. Remember, that's what I was talking to you. That's what Venus is all about. Now, it says that the 6 of Diamonds is a happy card indicating a warm, loving home and family life with reasonable financial security. It says that you will be able to improve on the family's financial situation if you are prepared to leave the close family environment, perhaps, and seek opportunities elsewhere. Of course, there's always a decision. But it also says that the cost in terms of the home and the family life will be high. That could be that idea that somebody says, hey, look, I got something for you, but it's going to cost you. You're going to have to do this. Right? Well, it could also only be temporary. So, if this were a conjure reading that I were given, I would suggest that you would do some spiritual baths and put down some protection work and some blessing work, right? To tide you over through this time. That's what I'm going to leave you with. I do hope those messages helped. And until next time, namaste.